Senator Antonio Triana IV has no time to relax since news of his amnesty nullification broke out this week. Trillanes' camp also continues to prepare for a possible arrest even if he remains under the custody of a Senate. Ray Pelayo tells us why live from the Senate. Yes, Ray, good evening.
Rheena, Senator Antonio Triana IV admits to having sleepless nights on his fourth day under Senate confinement.
But despite his ordeal, he is grateful to his supporters for standing by his side all the way, including, as he claims, some of the active soldiers who believe in his principles.
Categorical ang expression of support. They believe na tama itong nasa tama itong pinaglalaban ko at mali at unconstitutional yung proclamation.
The senator remains committed to his mandate as a lawmaker, though at the same time, his camp readies in anticipation of a possible arrest, even if the Senate leadership assures to block any attempt to arrest him as long as he is within the Senate premises and there is no official warrant of arrest.
Yung level of preparedness naman namin, hindi naman nagbabago. So tuloy-tuloy lang yan. We're not being paranoid about.
The senator and his legal team also continue to find ways to counter the president's nullification of his amnesty. He says he turns to music to keep himself calm.
Yan yung aking way, one of the ways to distress and unwind. Sa sound tripping.
Senator Trillanes decided to keep his family away from the controversy. It is only Magdalor Representative Gary Alejano who is with him most of the time inside his room. In an interview in program Ito Ang Balita earlier, Trillanes said he will just await the confirmation from the Armed Forces of the Philippines before he decides to go home.
Na itong branch 150, yung civilian court na isa, ay hindi rin po mag-i-issue ng warrant ngayong araw na ito. So, with that, ito na lang po, kukumpirmahin na lang namin itong sa military kung i-enforce pa rin nila yung itong pag-aaresto sa akin. So, once ma-confirma po namin na hindi po itutuloy, ay pwede na pong makauwi.
Rheena Trillanes says he will remain inside the Senate premises and has set a number of meetings with his legal team over the weekend to prepare for whatever circumstances that may come in line with the nullification of his amnesty. That's the latest here in Senate. Rheena.
Thank you so much, Ray Pelayo, reporting live at the Senate. The military officer who administered Senator Antonio Triana IV's oath-taking of the granted amnesty in 2011 surfaces at the Department of National Defense. Leah Ilagan tells us why in this exclusive report.
Colonel Josefa Berbigal was the officer who administered the oath-taking of Senator Antonio Trillanes when he was granted amnesty in 2011. Berbigal was the chief of the Department of National Defense Ad Hoc Committee Secretariat when the oath-taking was administered. She remains in active service as the current head of the DND-AFP Office of Ethical Standard and Public Accountability. And amid reports on Trillanes' amnesty revocation, the military officer was seen at the DND this morning. She was called there for an emergency meeting with Defense Undersecretary for Operation Cesariano, Undersecretary Toby Purisima, and Defense Legal Lawyer Ronald Patrick Rubin. Berbigal refused to face the camera, but she told the UNTV News and Rescue that she is leaving it to the defense officials to divulge what transpired in the meeting. According to DND Yusek Llano, Berbigal relayed to the panel of officials the events that happened on the day of Trillanes' oath-taking. Berbigal was also cited as saying she has no knowledge as to where Trillanes' amnesty application has gone at this point. The officials, however, refused to disclose any details beyond this point. In deference to the subjudice rule following Senator Trillanes, filed petition before the Supreme Court. For now, according to AFP spokesperson Marine Colonel Edgar Arevalo, the Armed Forces of the Philippines is on the process of assembling the General Court-Martial in compliance with the Presidential Proclamation number 572. While Operation Service of Military Provost Marshal Lieutenant Colonel Efren Abayari says they have reduced the number of military police staying near Senate premises as they await the arrival of military officials who traveled with President Rodrigo Dutertes to Jordan before implementing any actions relating to Trillanes' case. The AFP also maintains the institution remains united and committed to the chain of command and the rule of law, contrary to reports on alleged factions on the issue within the military. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines has allegedly completed the process of assembling the General Court-Martial in compliance with the Presidential Proclamation number 572. However, the list of its members is not yet available for release. Let's find out why from JL Asayo, live from Camp Aguinaldo. Yes, JL.
Rheena, stories continues to develop here at the headquarters of the Armed Forces of the Philippines in relation to the impending arrest of Senator Antonio Trianas IV after the revocation of his amnesty. While waiting for official announcement on the possible arrest of Trillanes, the UNTV News and Rescue has received information on the process of the senator's arrest order, which we verified with different sources. Though no specific detail on the status and the date and time of the issuance was given, a reliable source told the UNTV News and Rescue that the arrest order for Trillanes will come from the Judge Advocate General's Office, or JAGO. This will then be forwarded to the Office of the Provost Marshal, which will be tasked to serve the warrant of arrest to Senator Trillanes through the Office of the Senate Sergeant at Arms. In addition to this, we also received information that the Armed Forces of the Philippines has already completed the process of assembling the General Court-Martial in compliance with the Presidential Proclamation number 572. The General Court-Martial will allegedly be composed of 5 groups, with each comprising 3 members headed by a general. It is also required to have at least 1 official and a lawyer. The list of members and officials of General Court-Martial has yet to be released, as it is yet to be determined whose group of General Court-Martial will handle the proceedings of Senator Trillanes. Rheena, just today, President Rodrigo Dutertes also released a statement that they will just be waiting for the warrant of arrest from Makati Regional Trial Court. Now, the question is, what will happen to the warrant of arrest that the JAGO might be releasing within certain time? Now, that's also the same situation here at Camp Aguinaldo. Things are very uncertain and unpredictable. The officials and the officers of the National Defense and the Armed Forces of the Philippines received information or directive from their higher-ups that they are not allowed to give information anymore on cam with the media. But Rheena, we still have our sources from the inside that will keep us posted with happenings with regards to Trillanes' impending arrest. Rheena?
Thank you so much, JL Asayo, live at Camp Aguinaldo. In connection with that, rather than the order of immediate military arrest, President Duterte says he will wait for the court to issue a warrant of arrest against Senator Antonio Trillanes. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
No military arrest will be made against Senator Antonio Trillanes IV for now. This is after President Rodrigo Duterte decided to wait for the Makati City Regional Trial Court to issue a warrant of arrest against Trillanes. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the president made the decision in consultation with the members of his cabinet who are with him in his official visit in Jordan. Duterte met with his cabinet officials before dawn Friday to discuss the Proclamation number 572, which revoked Trillanes' amnesty. The motion for arrest and the whole departure order against Trillanes, filed by the Justice Department, is pending before the Makati Regional Trial Court, Branch 148. The court set the hearing on Thursday, September 13.
Desisyon ng Presidente that he will abide with the rule of law. Aantayin po niya ang desisyon ng hukuman ng Regional Trial Court kung sila ay mag-i-issue ng warrant of arrest.
Meanwhile, Malacanang downplays Trillanes' claims that they are military personnel and people siding with him on the government's actions against the lawmaker and that this may lead to uprising.
Siguro po guli-guli niya yan. Good lang po. Dahil siya naman napakatagal niyang naging senador, wala naman siyang nagawa para sa mga kasundaluhan natin. Si Presidente, 2 taon ba lang nakaupo bilang Presidente, nagdoble na niya ang sweldo ng ating mga kasundaluhan. So good luck, Senator Trillanes. Believe in your own needs.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue.
Justice Secretary Menardo Guevarra maintains there is no forum shopping in their move to seek another alias warrant of arrest and hold departure order in Makati RTC Branch 150 in relation to rebellion charges against Senator Antonio Trillanes. Mai Bermudez tells us why.
The Department of Justice files a motion to another court in Makati City seeking for the issuance of an alias warrant of arrest and hold departure order against Senator Antonio Trillanes IV. This is the second time that the DOJ has asked for an alias warrant and HDO to apprehend the lawmaker and prevent him from leaving the country. Critics have accused the department of exhausting all means to arrest the senator. But according to Justice Secretary Menardo Guevarra, the DOJ is not forum shopping, arguing that the motions are for different cases, so there will be no problem if they release an alias warrant.
Hindi, kasi dalawa naman talagang Makati courts ang nag-handle niyan eh. One for coup d'etat, one for rebellion. So hindi forum shopping yun.
Makati RTC Branch 150 handled Trillanes' rebellion trial, which stemmed from the Manila Peninsula siege, while RTC Branch 148 tried him in coup charges due to his involvement in 2003 Oakwood Mutiny. The legislators' cases in two separate courts were both dismissed in 2011 following the amnesty grant of former President Benigno Aquino III. Guevarra meanwhile appeals to the public to let the Supreme Court decide on the senator's fate, especially now that the latter's camp has elevated to the SC their petition against the Presidential Proclamation number 572.
I cannot comment any further. You know why? Kasi iyang bagay na yan, inakyat na niya sa Supreme Court. And tama yun eh. Para yung mga issues na yan, court na ang magre-resolve.
The Supreme Court has tasked Associate Justice Diosdado Peralta to be the member in charge of Trillanes' petition. This would mean that Peralta will recommend SC's actions on the case. Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Former Davao City Vice Mayor and presidential son Paulo Duterte files a libel case against Senator Antonio Trillanes at the Davao Regional Trial Court. The complaint stems from Trillanes' accusation that Paulo Duterte and his brother-in-law, lawyer Manasseh Carpio, were extorting money from Uber, Road Board, and the Department of Public Works and Highways. Based on the Article 355 of the Revised Penal Code, an accused, if proven guilty of libel, may be imprisoned and penalized with a fine that ranges from 200 to 6,000 pesos. Meanwhile, Senator Antonio Trillanes IV reveals that he always knew what he was up against when he chose to fight the current administration. The senator also revealed Duterte's plan to stay in power, according to what he says is from an inside source. Charlie Barredo tells us why in this report.
Senator Antonio Trillanes said he knew what he signed up for and was very much aware of the consequences and the backlash that he would garner when he opted to take this fight against President Rodrigo Dutertes.
That's part of the risk involved when I took up this fight against this ruthless president that we have. So I expected all the subtle maneuverings to make me vulnerable.
Trillanes admitted that he is a fatalist and he believes in the primacy of God's will.
If you believe in the primacy of God's will, and that's the kind of person that I am, and That's the kind of attitude or philosophy that I have embraced early on in my life. So I just do what I need to do. And let's just take, for example, back in 2007, when I ran for the Senate the first time, there was absolutely no chance for me to win that election. But I always believe that if it's part of God's will that I would win, then regardless of all the attempts to cheat or sabotage my campaign, they won't work and I would still win if it's part of God's will. And obviously it was.
He reveals receiving information on the president's plan to perpetuate power as long as he can, or to keep it within his family.
Information from the inside circle of Mr. Duterte. The plans of Duterte can be reduced to three. One, he plans to have an absolute control, absolute power, which could be a nationwide martial law, then elevated to a revolutionary government. He wants that. That option reflects perfectly well, or blends perfectly well with his personality. Next is the Cha-Cha option, which is to prolong or perpetuate his hold on power. And the final option would be, in case the plan A and plan B will not succeed, he will have to field Sara Duterte in 2022 for president to protect his to protect Duterte from the legal culpabilities that he would be faced with.
Trillanes also underscored that he was always knowledgeable of the fact that Duterte wanted him dead from the very beginning.
Definitely, it's already a given because Duterte himself publicly announced that someday somebody might shoot me. He made that public statement. As I was mentioning, it already occurred to me since day one that Duterte wants to have me killed. Okay, I have witnesses to attest to that, and but I was never bothered by that.
Trillanes believes that the threat to his life is imminent, having been named by a former police officer and self-confessed Davao Death Squad member as a target for assassination. He also stressed that if it's God's will for him to die, so be it.
If it's God's will for me to die tomorrow or tonight, then that's going to happen. Why worry about it?
Okay, sir. Charlie Barreto, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
President Rodrigo Dutertes is flying back home earlier after signing several agreements with the Jordanian government and pushing through with other events organized for his official visit. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte will cut short his trip in Jordan according to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque. Duterte will depart from Jordan Friday and will arrive in Davao City on Saturday. The president was supposed to be back on Sunday morning. Roque says the president opted to return early because he already finished all his engagements related to his official visit. Among the events scheduled for his trip is a meeting with Jordanian businessmen whom he invited to invest in the Philippines. Duterte assured them of the now easier process of doing business while allaying fears of corruption in the country.
I give you this solemn commitment that if you go there, it will be business with ease. I will guarantee you the return of profit. There will be no corruption. And if you ask anything, even a toothpick, I will guarantee you, you can have my audience any time of the day or night.
The Business Forum also highlights the signing of 8 letters of intent and 2 memoranda of understanding between the Philippine and Jordanian governments. These are expected to generate over 500 jobs. Jordan will also provide the Philippines with 2 Cobra attack helicopters set to be turned over on July 2019 after the training of Filipino pilots. These are aside from the promised military weapons such as mortars, rifles, and rocket-propelled grenade. Duterte is currently in Jordan for an official visit upon the invitation of King Abdullah bin Al Hussein. He is the first sitting Philippine president to visit the Arab state. The two leaders in a formal meeting agreed to further bolster the relations of the Philippines and Jordan.
And I believe that this is a new era of cooperation. As we have discussed privately, there has already been on many levels, your visit here will now propel us into the next.
I would like to assure you that we have come here to pledge our friendship, our cooperation to you. And our national interest here in the Middle East, mostly is really so many thousands of Filipinos.
Among the agreements signed by the two governments are the establishment of Joint Commission for Bilateral Cooperation, Defense Cooperation, Seafarers Training, and Employment of Filipino domestic workers. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue.
The province of Benguet has been placed under a state of calamity after weeks of non-stop rains. Vincent Arboleda tells us why.
The provincial government of Benguet has declared a state of calamity after weeks of monsoon rains destroyed crops and several roads. The declaration comes after the province, which is called the country's salad bowl for being a top vegetable producer, suffered agricultural damages estimated to worth around 73 million pesos. At least 2,990 farmers were heavily affected by strong rains, and some farm-to-market roads were also damaged, further burdening locals in transporting their produces to the trading post. According to Benguet Governor Crescencio Pacalso, the declaration will give them access to their calamity fund to begin repairs on roads, farms, and other infrastructures.
Damaged houses, we have 66 totally damaged boats or houses, and partially damaged 220. Naapektaran dito yung 305 families kan 610 na tao. Kanakito yung nag-evacuate. Dapat hindi casualties tayo.
The local government needs 84.25 million pesos to repair national roads and bridges, while 13 million to restore farm-to-market roads.
Yung iba sa susunod na taon na, kasi yung 70% ika nga nung calamity fund natin pwedeng gamitin agad na hindi kailangan may state of calamity. Ayun ang pupuno doon sa hindi natin mabibigyang lunas ngayong doon sa maliit na halaga ngayon.
Governor Pacalso clarifies the rains did not totally affect the production, and the steady supply of vegetables is still being delivered to Metro Manila and nearby areas. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Department of Transportation and the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board are lamenting the decision of the Mandaluyong Regional Trial Court to allow the motorcycle ride-hailing service Angkas to temporarily resume its operations. Joan Nano tells us why.
The Transportation Department and the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board both expressed sadness over the issuance of a preliminary injunction by the Mandaluyong City Regional Trial Court allowing the motorcycle ride-hailing service Angkas to be back on the road. In a joint statement, the DOTR and LTFRB described Angkas as colorum or unregistered vehicles only interested in making a profit and not the safety of its passengers. Through this preliminary injunction, the court is preventing the DOTR and LTFRB from interfering in Angkas operation pending final ruling of the case filed against them. Authorities are also prohibited from apprehending Angkas drivers except when they have traffic violations. The Transportation Department and LTFRB insist they have the power to regulate all ride-hailing services operating in the country. The agencies also argue that under the Republic Act 4236 or the Land Transportation and Traffic Code, private motorcycles should not be used as a mode of public transportation because it will put commuters at risk. The LTFRB and DOTR are planning to appeal the decision. The Angkas management meanwhile expresses gratitude for the favorable ruling, vowing to provide service to commuters amid worsening traffic situation. The ruling temporarily restores the livelihood of around 17,000 partner drivers of Angkas whose income suffered when the LTFRB suspended its operation in November 2017. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Bureau of Customs orders the closure of a warehouse in Marilao, Bulacan that its operatives stormed this morning. Grace Cassin tells us why.
Authorities raided a warehouse in Marilao, Bulacan early Friday morning for allegedly storing sacks of smuggled rice from China. Operatives of the Bureau of Customs sealed off the storehouse, which contains around 3,000 sacks of rice allegedly owned by a certain Lea Luella Ramirez. The BOC says the warehouse will remain closed and its owner has yet to provide the necessary documentations proving that the sacks of rice were legally imported. Ramirez legal counsel lawyer Genesito Balasolia claims the sacks of rice went through legal importation proceedings and that his client secured pertinent permits covering the rice shipment.
Itong stocks of rice are legal. They have the corresponding import permit from the NFA. And the duties and taxes due to the government were duly paid. So this is not smuggling or any illegal stocks.
Attorney Balasolia also insists his client secured an importer's permit from the Talisay Farmers Multipurpose Cooperative dated August 16, 2018. He also explains why these rice sacks are yet to be delivered to the market.
Actually, ito pong bigas na nandyan, ongoing po yung delivery. Delivery? Yes, so ongoing yung delivery. In fact, meron pa nga ditong delivery na hindi maipasok kasi sinelyuhan nila yung bodega. And we will be paying for the demurahe and the damages to the truckers dahil hindi maipasok.
The reopening of the rice storehouse remains pending since the BOC has yet to respond to the legal counsel's claims and presented documents. Grace Cassin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
In these times where prices of basic goods and necessities are high, here are the different things to do if you want to save money. Monokson has this report.
Inflation or the increase in prices is inevitably part of our daily lives. But because being resourceful is a trait of many Filipinos, many of our fellow citizens have learned to adjust and find ways to save on their expenses. Instead of worrying on the rising prices of goods, consumers may want to try these helpful tips. Here in Barangay Tumana in Marikina, residents have a different approach in dealing with high prices. Jimmy Sigera grows vegetables even without a vacant lot to plant. He used plant box and recycled soft drink bottles for the vegetables. He grows all of the vegetables in the terrace of their house. He has malunggay, pechay, ginger, legumes, eggplant, basil, saluyot, kamote tops, and chili.
Tunayan natin na kahit nasa urban tayo, makakapag-produce tayo ng pagkain. Although hindi mo nga yan kakainin araw-araw, pero yan ay supplement, karagdagan. At kapag may sobra ka na, pwede mong maibenta.
Jimmy also shared his strategy to his neighbors and is now growing radish, mustard, Chinese okra, kamote tops, and water spinach.
Kailangan lang po talaga maging masipag. Saka yung napag-aralan po namin na pwede magtanim sa mga container lang kahit wala silang lupa, pwede po sila makakapagtanim sila. Sa akin po, mas maganda po magtanim kaysa po yung bumili.
If you can't grow vegetables right away, finding for cheaper alternative is the way to go. If rice is expensive for you, corn and sweet potatoes are cheap and healthy alternatives. But if you really like rice so much, NFA is a cheaper alternative to expensive commercial rice. And if your budget is affected by the continuous oil price hike, you can also invest on an electric bike. You can charge it just like a cell phone, so you will not need to gas up. There are alternative renewable sources of energy like solar panels that can help you adjust your monthly bill to 50% lower.
In terms of money, malaki natitipid po sa kuryente. Di ba?
using the same electrical furnitures and fixtures, lumiit yung aking binabayaran.
But the best way to save is to lower your consumption. Turn off any appliances when not in use. This rainy season, you can also adjust the temperature of your air conditioning unit to 25 degrees. According to Rosel Ray, a business and financial expert, the most effective way to save is to budget your salary, especially when you don't have any source of income other than your employment. For example, if you are earning 10,000 monthly, allocate part of your salary to your expenses and bills and don't consume all of your money for luxury and unnecessary things. Avoid applying for loans, especially if you can't afford to pay.
Ngayon, mataas ang presyo, pero mas-stress ka talaga kung ikaw ay puro utang tapos mataas pa ang presyo. Hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na, boss, itaas mo ang aking sweldo. Kasi mataas na ang bilihin ngayon. Mag-aantay tayo kung mangyayari yan. Pero kung hindi, mag-a-adjust ka muna.
If you notice that your salary is not enough, it's time to do cost cutting. You can cut off cable and telephone lines, avoid frequent watching of movies in cinemas, and other things that will lessen your expenses.
Mga bagay na maliliit, pero pag pinagsama-sama mo ang pagtitipid na yon, ikaw ay wais sa iyong spending. At masusurvive mo itong inflation at yung taas ng bilihin.
Leading a simple life, being resourceful, and living within the budget are things to consider if you want to get by your everyday life, especially now that prices have skyrocketed. Mon Hocson, UNTV News and Rescue, Marikina City.
The DA Food Masters undergo intense training and even boast of their robust lineup ahead of their match against Seasons 1 and 2 alumnus, PhilHealth Plus. Bernard Dadis tells us why.
Let's welcome in first your Department of Agriculture Food Masters.
The Department of Agriculture Food Masters are set to face off with the PhilHealth Plus as they step into their first game in the League of Public Servants on Sunday. DA Food Masters are confident of claiming their first win in the UNTV Cup 7th edition, citing their beefed-up defense, robust lineup with higher endurance levels. Former professional basketball player and DA Food Masters head coach Salvire Lubit says the team made huge adjustments in preparation for their second year in the league.
Nung umpisa namin, alam ko na kulang yung piyesa namin. Pero ang amin lang na sana makapanalo ng marami, pero hanggang 2 lang kami noon. Sa ngayon siguro handa kami at naging kumpleto na yung team namin. Kasi dati 6 lang talagang makakasabay sa ganitong level na the basketball.
The DA Food Masters first participated in the UNTV Cup Season 6 but was driven out in the first round eliminations. Ria Lubit says they have learned from their first failed campaign and dropped up their plays this time as they aim to overpower their opponents to reach the finals.
Lahat mayroon akong first 5, second 5, mayroon akong maipalit doon sa piyesa kong pang-5, yung pang first 5 ko. So tingnan natin at alam ko na ang ano lang namin na makabigay kami ng magandang laban.
The DA Cagers also undergo regular trainings and practices to further improve their stamina in order to keep up with other teams.
Last year pa kami, hindi kami humihinto. Last year pa, para unang-una sa physical fitness namin, sa health namin, na hindi tumataba yung mga players. So yun ang naging routine ng team namin noon. Hanggang ngayon, yun pa din.
DA's current lineup includes 10 new players with several former professional basketball players. The battle between the DA Food Masters and the Seasons 1 and 2 alumnus, PhilHealth Plus, takes place around 3:30 p.m. at the Pasig City Sports Center. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
And it's all systems go for the Wish Bus launching later in Hollywood, California, United States of America. Here's why from Sunny Calls.
The much-awaited Wish Bus launching in Hollywood is a few hours away. Filipino wishers from different parts of America have started arriving in Los Angeles, California since yesterday to witness the big event.
Napakaswerte natin dahil Pilipino ang innovator ng Wish Bus. At napakaswerte dahil nagsimula sa Pilipinas tapos ngayon dadalhin nila sa LA, sa North America.
Saya po kasi ito po yung first radio station na galing sa Pilipinas na nakarating dito sa Hollywood. So, mas makikilala po tayo mga Pilipino.
Even foreigners are wowed by the concept of the Wish Bus and are now excited to personally see the FM booth on wheels.
I am going to LA despite the distance because I think the Wish Bus is a great idea and I want to see it for myself personally. I also want to see the man behind all of these unique and amazing concepts.
Like, that's dope if like to have like, you know, like a major rap artist out like on a bus and you just sit there and watch them like freestyle or just like you know, rap one of the songs. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's crazy though. I would have never thought about something like that.
OPM artists are set to grace the Wish Bus launching and offer performances for wishers. This includes Michael Keith, Annie Nepomuceno, Perf de Castro, Michael Regalado, Intro Voice, Paco Escochaga, and Wish Jock Robin Rivera.
Having our talent shown not only in the Philippines but like all over, and the fact that we're able to branch out here and just to showcase our talents, it's amazing.
I would say Filipino-American artists really need exposure, this innovation, especially like the Wish Bus. It's really helpful to have like a channel for Filipino-Americans.
The Wish Bus launching will be held in the Universal City Walk Hollywood in Los Angeles, California, later at 5 p.m. A parallel event will be also held for Filipino wishers at the Eastwood City Walk on September 8 at 8 in the morning. Sonicos UNTV News and Rescue, Hollywood, USA.